Torej, dober dan, lepo pozdravljeni v mojem imenu, moje ime je Tina Marc, sem projektni vodja na Arkturju in sem vesela, da vas danes lahko pozdravim na tej naši delavnici, ki jo Arktur v bistvu izvaja pod okriljem Nacionalnega kompetenčnega centra SLING in projekta EuroCC. Upam, da že vidimo moj zaslon s prezentacijo. Um,
Vidimo.
Vidimo, odlično. Za začetek najprej nekaj uvodnih besed o samem kompetenčnem centru, torej zakaj smo danes tukaj, kaj vam lahko kompetenčni center vam kot podjetjem ponuja. In potem predajam besedo kolegu Marku, ki vas bo popeljal v svet generativne umetne inteligence. Torej si predstavljam, da bomo danes izvedeli veliko novega, veliko predvsem uporabnega, saj smo zasnovali to delavnico čisto z namenom, da v bistvu podjetjem olajšamo delo z nekimi orodji, pohitrimo, optimiziramo in čas namenimo kakšnim konkretnejšim zadevam. Torej, Nacionalni kompetenčni center SLING je eden izmed 33 kompetenčnih centrov, ki so nastali v Evropi približno 5 let nazaj v sklopu razvojno-raziskovalnega projekta EuroCC. Zdaj v našem konzorciju, se pravi v Sloveniji, se združuje 5 partnerjev, se pravi Arktur kot edino tehnološko podjetje in potem še, bom rekla, člani javnih organizacij, torej koordinator Arnes, potem pa še Inštitut Jožefa Štefana, Univerza v Ljubljani in Univerza v Mariboru. In skupaj smo pravzaprav združili moči za to, da lahko naslavljamo uporabo superračunalništva in umetne inteligence, se pravi v samem poslovanju za javno upravo, za namene raziskovanja in seveda potem še podpora študentom. Torej tistim, ki so naši upi prihodnosti, ki bodo znali uporabljati in naslavljati tehnologije za razvoj. Zdaj najprej v Arkturju 2 besedi, torej visokotehnološko podjetje iz Nove Gorice, ki smo pravzaprav v svojem samem srcu superračunalniški ponudnik, imamo svojo lastno infrastrukturo, s katero pa se mi v bistvu lahko tako rečemo igramo na različnih področjih, torej v zadnjem času predvsem na področju medicine, kamor apliciramo naše tehnološke rešitve, in pa turizmu, kjer izvajamo razne senzorične meritve, edge computing, data analitiko in seveda izdelavo raznih 3D modelov in VR rešitev, še vedno pa klasično superračunalništvo, se pravi uporaba simulacij in podatkovne analitike v različnih industrijskih sektorjih. Zdaj sama podpora industriji v tem primeru, se pravi v sklopu Nacionalnega kompetenčnega centra, je z naše strani malce širša. Podjetja, ki lahko dobijo podporo v sklopu tega centra, so načeloma srednja in manjša podjetja, ki imajo storitve v določenem obsegu, seveda brezplačno. Tukaj govorimo o podpori predvsem na dostopu do infrastrukture, superračunalniške infrastrukture, bodisi do Vege, ki je naš nacionalni superračunalniški sistem, ali Arktur, ki ga imamo mi kot podjetje, bodisi potem tudi pomagamo dosegati druge superračunalniške resurse znotraj Evrope. Tukaj smo tudi zato, da vas opolnomočimo z nekim znanjem. Ponujamo, se pravi, udeležbo na delavnicah, treningih, na konzultacijah ali skupinskih konzultacijah, pomagamo pri razvoju nekih inovativnih idej, testiranju ali razvoju proof of conceptov, predvsem na področju, se pravi, kjer se aplicira superračunalništvo na klasičen način, se pravi simulacijski del, ali razvoj nekih oziroma adaptacija nekih LLM modelov. Potem pa vsekakor smo zelo zainteresirani za to, da vas povezujemo v konzorcije skupaj z slovenskimi ali evropskimi partnerji, vam pomagamo dosegati neke bom rekla, razpise, predvsem te, ki ponujajo nepovratna finančna sredstva. Eden od takih je Fortissimo, ki ga bomo omenili v naslednjih korakih. In seveda smo tu zato, da vam pomagamo s promocijo vašega znanja produktov, tako da se potem družimo na dogodkih in drugih različnih, bom rekla, pripravljamo različne materijale. Povabila vas bi, da mogoče ugotovite, če je vaše podjetje že zrelo za uporabo superračunalništva umetne inteligence, in sicer tako, da rešite en tak kompleksnejši vprašalnik. Dosegate ga preko linka na skrinu oziroma preko QR kode, je brezplačno za uporabo, vzelo vam bo približno pol urce, dobili boste pa zelo konkreten report, torej poročilo z priporočili, kam in kako naprej, glede na to, kje se trenutno nahajate in kakšne so vaše želje v naslednjih 5 letih po napredku. In seveda vabljeni, da nas kontaktirate, da vam potem pomagamo razumeti oziroma vas usmeriti na nadaljno pot. Kar sem prej omenila, torej Fortissimo, eden večjih evropskih projektov, traja že več kot dekado in je tukaj pravzaprav zato, da spodbuja podjetja, se pravi SMEs, to so mala in srednja podjetja, k uporabi superračunalništva oziroma v tej seriji tudi razvoju LLM-jev s pomočjo generativne umetne inteligence, o kateri bomo danes precej slišali. Razpisi prihajajo ven enkrat letno, naslednji tako imenovani open call se bo zgodil poleti, točnih datumov še ne vemo, vendar vabim, da sledite preko linka oziroma QR kode. Zakaj se pa gre? Gre se za to, da se podjetje lahko samostojno oziroma v konzorciju partnerjev, bodisi slovenskih ali tujih, prijavi na en tak manjši kaskadni razpis, ki ni zahteven za prijavo, približno 10 strani dolg razpis, ampak omogoča razvoj produkta ali optimizacijo produkta s pomočjo superračunalništva in ponuja do 200.000 evrov na konzorcij, traja 15 mesecev. Ali tip 2, torej drugačen tip inovativnih študij, tako imenovanih, ki omogoča podjetju ali konzorciju organizacij adaptacijo oziroma nadaljni razvoj LLM modela v skupni vrednosti do 300.000 evrov in pa gre za približno 10-mesečni potek projekta. Več informacij na spletni strani oziroma v mojem kontaktu, ki ga podam tukajle. Želim vam v bistvu eno lep, uspešen workshop oziroma delavnico. Če imate vprašanja, vabljeni, da jih zapišete v tale chat oziroma dvignete roko in uporabite mikrofon. Vsekakor pa uživajte, veliko se naučite in pa sedaj vam bom pustila še v samem chatu še en link do enega krajšega vprašalnika, ki ga prosim izpolnite, preden zapustite to delavnico. Za nas je v bistvu precej pomemben, da vemo, kako lahko še pomagamo oziroma kakšne tematike vas zanimajo, kako jih lahko naslovimo. Zdaj pa, Mark, beseda je tvoja.
Živijo, hvala. Najprej da vprašam, a vsi govorimo slovensko? Is everybody speaking English, Slovenian, or would anybody want for English? Okay, English. We do have one English participant. Okay, I also did prepare the slides in English. I would say like this, I will perform this presentation in English. So I want to apologize for the participants in English. So the first part of the presentation was in Slovenian, but it was just to explain what our company does and how it can help other companies. It can also be, the links, there are also English versions. I would say like this, since this is a workshop, I would really want to hear also things from you. As Tina already said, you can ask anything in the comments, or I would also say you can unmute yourself and ask things that are bothering you, yeah, or that you have questions with. So rather than me speaking for roughly an hour and a half, 2 hours, I would rather see that you get things that you need at this moment. Yeah, so you all have a bit different uh, background knowledge, and I want to, let's say, try to fulfill as many expectations as possible. And for that, I did prepare a short survey that will take probably only 2 minutes using Mentimeter. So please do try to solve this. You can join it with menti.com and use the code, or I can also give you mm, the link. Yeah, so please take 2 minutes, and they're just 3 short questions. If anybody need some help? Okay, Arash, yes. So again, you have in the comments, in the chat section, you have a link that if you can click on it, you will get the free questions that I can get a bit of a feeling of the audience. Okay, we got the 8 responses. We'll just wait for another minute that you can also. Okay, so I see that a lot of you already are using ChatGPT. Do want to point out this is really a beginner course, but I still think you will get some useful information. Maybe if you already tried it out, then you have maybe also some questions that we can open and see what are some challenges you're facing. But I am actually glad that you're already trying out these technologies. How about this question? Because I would want you to try things out today. Okay. So for the one that needs to sign up, I think today is the perfect day that you can try out how to open ChatGPT and try it for yourself. If your work relations do not allow me, yes, I know these are also the cases. We'll see if you can maybe join somebody and try things out. But I do hope that on your home computer you can use it, ChatGPT or any other module. And now for the last. So here are some questions so that I can get a feeling what you're looking for. Waiting for a few responses. Okay, I think we mostly got it. So you are looking for some new tools, maybe some free tools, and how to use them, mm, and also some handy tools for your tasks. I hope you have some tasks in mind, because at the end I will ask you to try and tackle any of the tasks, and maybe we can also discuss your tasks and how you can use ChatGPT uh, to tackle them, or maybe some other tools. Okay, I think we have more than 9 answers, which is the number of people we are here. Thank you very much. Is anybody still writing a question and want us to wait? Okay. Then I will stop this and go to the presentation. Maybe before that, just a short um, demonstration of one thing I found out. So maybe the idea is, from me, I'm Mark, I'm working at Arctur, and I'm a bit of interested in the whole area of generative AI. Um, I don't want to really, I don't know, give you too many information and try to explain all the details and all the tips and tricks. I will give you some that I found out myself, but I do think that the whole internet is crowded with lots and lots of information. I do want you to get curious and try things out. So I will invite you to try things out with me. And I found out this. Yeah, so I have uh, one tool that I will show you later, which is called Gammas. And it is a specific tool to make presentations, because I don't like really doing presentations. I think it takes a lot of work. And this is a generative AI that helps you do some presentations. And I will just make a short demonstration. Yeah. So we can import information from URL, and I will try this web page. And this is the web page for EuroCC2 project from Sling, which was at the beginning of this presentation, yeah, that Tina presented really well. Okay, let's try the English version. Oh, it's only partially doing it. So yeah, some presentations also take Slovenian text, but it can also translate. I can just take the URL, yeah, of this web page and just paste it here, import it, and let's see what can the artificial intelligence do on its own. Yes, I want to make a presentation. So here it's scraped all the information from the page. I want, yes, give in another instructions, make presentation in English, output English, and let's see what happens. Okay, let's try a little bit more light theme. This is just a short presentation. Yeah, don't worry. We'll go through it. And as we can see, the AI is actually making a presentation from our web page. It was probably done, yeah, we could say in less than a minute. I would not say it's perfect, far from that. But to start with something, I think it's a really good yeah, thing to start from. Yeah. So we can see we got the the title, some description, the project overview. It figured out that we have some background and some timeline, how this project evolved. We have the partners from Slovenia. We also gave some icons. We have the objectives, yeah, of this project. We get the roles. Yeah, we also see the other partners and what's the needs that are accompanied by success stories that I will tackle later. Yeah, and some funding support. So we can see it does figure out what the information says and did some, let's say, classic presentation steps. This is maybe just a short demonstration about what can we do in less than 5 minutes. I would not say that we can present this. It's far from that good, but to start from something, I think it's a good advance from starting the blank PowerPoint and starting everything. It's maybe just one tool. But now let's go to our presentation. So welcome to the first part. My name is Mark again. We are going to conduct this workshop in two parts. So in the first part, this is today's agenda. Firstly, I will do a short introduction and theory. So you can firstly drink your morning coffee from everybody from Slovenia, from everywhere else from the world. If you're drinking your favorite beverage, you can finish that. That will take probably around half an hour. Because I do think that in order to understand how to use it, you also need to understand a bit how it works, what is actually beneath the surface, yeah, of this machine. I will try to use it since it's the beginner course and no technical background is needed. I will try to explain it as easy as possible. Yeah, so I will try to use simple examples and not go into details. So when you have a feeling about how this generative AI works, I will try to do some demonstrations with ChatGPT, with Gamma AI, which is for presentations. We'll also show you some text, speech to text transcription tool that is freely available, and also some tool that helps you do step-by-step guides in a really, really fast manner. And then in the last part, I would actually give you some time to practice out tools or new knowledge from ChatGPT or to ask questions. Yeah. So I would probably leave at least a half an hour at the end to try those things out. This is also why we produce this as a workshop. Yeah, rather than you just listening, I think that our knowledge is best used when we try things out, experiment, yeah, and figure things on the way. Especially if you can try something and then we can discuss and see how we can improve. I think this is the best method for learning. Some agreements I want to do with you, so my wishes is that you get curious. Yeah. So if I want one thing that you take away from this is that you get more curious about how you can use it and what tools you can use. Yeah. You're not afraid of messing things up, that you can use them in the correct way and also have some more knowledge about how to use it safely. The second wish is that you ask right away. If I went too quickly, if you have some questions specifically for the topic, please do ask. Yeah, I think this is the best way that we open questions that are burning at the moment, not just going into the broad giving of information. And I would invite you to participate in the part 2, which is next week. So as I said, today is more of an introduction, some theory, some ChatGPT, so some basics. And the next chapter, which will take place at the same time next week. So my colleague from University of Maribor, he will show you some more tools. Yeah, so this is like part 2 about how to analyze data, how to schedule tasks, how to draw images, and maybe also some videos. So this is also the part 2. This is why we did the short version, yeah, of roughly 2 hours, that you can that you can also participate in the second part. So grab your coffee or tea and let's dig in. So what does generative AI actually mean? Yeah, I think that firstly we need to distinguish all these words. And to get to generative AI, we first have to distinguish a few layers. Yeah, the first layer is AI, which means artificial intelligence, which I think it's now the biggest buzzword around. And it's actually how would you say, connected to tasks, yeah, computer and complex tasks that machines or computers do. And these tasks were usually associated with humans. Yeah, that humans know how to do them, but machine not. So as we know, I don't know, we invented a calculator, yeah. So really calculating was not considered an anymore a really human task because calculator would give you um, an exact answer. But like doing a presentation, writing emails, writing surveys, this was considered like human. It still is. But like AI is now helping us making this kind of tasks or maybe making decisions. Yeah. Um, we were really good at recognizing cats from dogs. And it seemed impossible that machine could distinguish between those two animals. And yet this is what we do now. Yeah, also we have face recognition, so machines do also recognize faces from different human beings. So this is broadly artificial intelligence. Then a subset is a machine learning. Yeah, these are a sets of algorithms, some mathematical models, which learn from data that we give. Yeah. For example, let's see this simple example. Imagine you are working in renting apartments. Yeah, you have an apartment and you are wondering, yeah, what would be the appropriate price to put on the market? I think this is now let's say, a modern problem. Yeah, how much should we evaluate our apartment? And one idea would be you want to come up with a formula, that you try to, I don't know, you're looking at other how do you say, on the news, how much the apartments cost and things like that. And then you just try to figure out. So what machine learning does is you take a lot of apartments, yeah, a lot of apartments, and you do the following. Here, yeah, on the lower, do it a little bit pink, I like pink. Yeah, on the lower part, let's say we have square foot, um, square meter of how big the apartment is, yeah, square meter. And then on this side, we have the price. Yeah. And then we go and we find as many apartments as we can. And we say, okay, this apartment has like a square meter. So these are like 100 square meters. And the price was here, yeah, on this height. So this apartment has 200 square meters. And the price is, I don't know, 6,000 euros. This is what I'm just making up. So the idea is we put these points, each of these point cross represents one apartment. And now what can we do? Now we use machine learning or artificial intelligence to figure out what is the best price that we can predict from our information. So this information is square meters of an apartment. And what machine learning actually does, it learns these relations. To be really, really exact, it tries to fit a line that is well fitted to this information. If we see on the left, we have this red line that is just horizontal. I think we can all agree that this fit is not good. We see that the information, yeah, these dots go up, yeah. So the more square meters we have, the more the price rises, yeah. So this line that is horizontal is bad, yeah. But this one, yeah, that goes through, yeah, and feeds this data correctly, this one is good. So what does machine learning means is which of these lines actually is the best fit. Yeah. And we can do this by different algorithms, but this is basically it. Yeah. The machine learning. Machine learns which line fits our data the best. What did we have to put into our algorithm? We had to give the data. So we, as a humans, we have to find data of apartments that we think it's okay and put it in. And we have to say a model that we are looking for a line, that we are not looking, I don't know, for a U curve or something. Yeah. So still people, yeah, do most of the things. And then we have some mathematical algorithm that tries to fit this line. And that's actually it. Yeah. But it's still, although it's machine learning, we have to say what are the information and what does it mean that we are predicting or that we are fitting this line in a good manner. We have to provide this information. Yeah. This is one of the examples that this is one of the examples of how machine learns. Other example. Okay, so I have to clear this out. Clear, yes. The other example that we can see that is really popular is using clusters. Yeah, so we have a lot of data. Yeah, again, we could say we have some apartments with square meter of them and the price. And we want to say, okay, are there any groups of apartments that exist? And we see on the left part, we have just the apartments. If I, as a person, see those points, I cannot say, yeah, there are some significant groups of apartments. But on the right side, we can see that we have an algorithm that is looking for groups. It can actually color the groups of apartments in different colors. And then we would maybe figure out that these red ones are like in some specific district. Maybe these green ones are, I don't know, the apartments on an island because island, the prices are really expensive. And also they have, when they build the houses, they were bigger. So we can get some information from the data. Yeah. Again, the machine, what learned was we gave it an algorithm, some procedure, how to find some groups. We had to give the data, and the machine then puts out the groups. Maybe the most simple example of this is also if you get a lot of people. Yeah, you are running a shop of selling t-shirts, and you measure your customers. Yeah, and you measure their height and their weight. Yeah, height and weight. Each this dot represents one person, and then we say we want to sell S, M, and L shirts, t-shirts. Yeah. So which groups should we take into these shirts? Well, again, we say find us groups based on this information. And we can see, yeah, that we have like here 3 groups that machine found. And we then look at them and say, okay, this means this looks okay. If it would not, we would say not. Maybe we say, okay, but maybe this is missing. This group in the middle is too big, or this is the L group. We know from practice that these people cannot wear the same t-shirt. So let's say the person would say, okay, let's find 4 groups. And on the right side, we could see then we have L and XL. So again, this is how human and machine work together. Yeah? And this means machine learning. It has a specific task. The next layer is then deep learning, which I just want to put this out because we hear a lot of it. It's deep learning and neural networks. It's just an algorithm that is like trying to mimic how our brains work. Yeah. So before there was an algorithm called linear regression that tries to fit that line to the data. But now we have some numbers that are doing calculations over and over again. So on these circles represent numbers that present, I don't know, some picture. And then we do some calculations like our brains do. You see a picture and then your brain, your eyes send it to the first layer of your brain cells. Those brain cells send it to the next. And this is how we try to mimic this algorithm in our brains to actually figure things out. Let's give you an example. We can give pictures from cats and dogs. Yeah, we get a picture from cat and we put it into a number. So this is some encoding thing, yeah. And we put it into this neural network. It calculates, it does its thing, yeah, it's just some adding and multiplying. And at the end, we say this is a cat. We put another picture of a cat, it goes through and we say this is a cat. And then we put maybe a picture of a dog, we say this is a dog. If you would see only two dogs and one cat as a kid, I don't know how good you would be to then distinguish between all dogs and cats. But what this does is that when we use like tens of thousands of pictures, like 10,000 pictures of cats and 10,000 pictures of dogs, so the machine learns to find out some patterns. I don't know, maybe it finds that the cats have more uh, lightly eyes, yeah, so these green eyes and then with some dot, but the dogs have more dark eyes. Then they can find that cats have pointy ears and the dogs mostly have ears down or not so pointy. So these are the things that machine learns by itself. What it means, it adjusted some numbers, which by using calculations produce this kind of answers. Yeah, it sounds like dark magic, but actually it's the idea is that we do some procedure and we do it a lot of times. This is why these kind of things are only available, I don't know, last 10, 20 years, because before that we did not have, not everybody had 10,000 pictures of a cat. Yeah, this is why we live now in this area where we have a lot of information for these algorithms to work. So this would be a simple neural network that will distinguish cats from dogs, which is actually not a hard thing to do if you are an undergrad student for computer science. This is one of the probably homeworks you have to do because now we have all possible technology that this is not so hard. And this is really good. But if we only teach our machine to learn to distinguish cats and dogs, the machine did not see anything else. Yeah, we are as humans are really, really good to see that this is a dog, this is a cat, and that's probably something else. But the machine, it's then really hard for the machine to distinguish. So we have here chihuahuas, and then they put some pictures of muffins, and the machine thought these are dogs, yeah, because the task was distinguish dogs from cats. So this is what we have to be like as humans really knowledgeable about, what kind of information we put in, and if the machine actually knows all sorts of different tasks. So this is where generative AI comes. Yeah. Firstly, what it does, we saw in the first examples that we had a specific task. Yeah, so the first task was for the machine, if I put my information about my apartment, I wanted to predict a price. Yeah, it's a really exact task. So this example before was I put a picture of a cat or a dog, and I wanted to say, is it a cat or a dog? But now we have like this large language models that we call them, yeah, or ChatGPT is one of them. What it does, so it was trained on a lot of data, to be specific, text data. And the only task that it had, it was predict the next word. So in this example was Mary had a, and the ChatGPT had to predict the next word, which was little. And then it read all these words and it had to predict lamb. Yeah. So again, the task was you have to predict the next word, and it was trained so that the whole corpus of a lot of text. We will also calculate how much text ChatGPT actually has inside. Was actually doing this, yeah? Just try to predict the next word, and by knowing what the next word is, it corrects itself, yeah? Again, as the cat and the dog, when we put the picture, we say this is a cat, it corrects those numbers that it is better in predicting cats. And we put the dog, it's better that those numbers that the machine predicts dogs. Here we have these words, yeah, that we can then use to correct it. Yeah. So Mary had A, it put in, I don't know, a sheep. It was like, no, it would be better to be little, and it corrected those numbers that it can better produce speech. Where does the generative comes now? So because we are not using this now ChatGPT to predict the correct word, but we want it to actually output a large text, this is where the generative comes. Yeah, it looks like the ChatGPT is coming up with different words, that it actually is writing essays and texts. And this is what we want. Yeah, so we don't have an exact answer, but we want to have an answer that is, well, correct as much as it can, and is readable as a human would do it. Yeah. This is one thing. And the other thing, as I said, the task, yeah, for the machine has to be really specific. And, it did not distinguish chihuahuas from muffins, because here we put almost all the text we know into ChatGPT. Let's say it read everything that humans wrote. Yeah. It's really good in, let's say, generalizing, yeah, to have some general knowledge that we wrote down. It's still, if we want to do something specific, we have to adjust it. But let's say for some general things, like if we would want to Google something, how to raise a plant, this would be good because it already read different versions of how to raise a plant. I would just want to stop here. This was probably the most technical part. Questions here? Yeah, please just ask or write down in the chat. Sorry, Andrea, I saw it now. Why use AI if linear regression is fine for the first case? So I would say that linear regression is the most simple version of AI we knew. Yeah, because linear regression, it's firstly, we decided that it's linear, so we gave it the model. And the second part is you have to put in data. These are, yeah, so we have input, output, and it learns what is the best fit. So linear regression is in some sense the most simple AI model we have. I think this is Andre, is this a good answer? I would say yes. Otherwise, please complain. But you want to say it works from the picture?
Maybe it's easier for you if you can unmute and
Mm-hmm.
then discuss with Mark.
Please.
Yeah, it's more, let's say, friendly. So we are talking about
Yes.
AI, but still, when we are
Yes.
discussing, still let's be like person to person. So you're
Yes.
more than
Yes.
welcome to ask questions.
Oh, you cannot. That's okay. Yeah, probably you have other people in the work. You want to say that AI works from the peak? I do not understand the question. Sorry. If you can just rewrite it. Let's say you write down the question maybe in a longer form, and I will go on, and then I will come back. Okay, so that you have time maybe to formulate the whole question. But yeah, thanks you for being curious. Just I want to move on since we don't have so much time. So yeah, this is what ChatGPT does. And why is ChatGPT so good? Because I said we have a lot of data. Yeah, we didn't have tens of thousands of pictures of cats and dogs before. Now we have, and we did have a lot of texts, yeah, from I don't know books, internet. But what then happened is, if you can see when ChatGPT came out in November, uh, just finish this slide and I will answer. So in the November, you can see how many people used it. Yeah, so it needed like a month for 10 millions of visits daily. Yeah, in a few months, they had roughly 30 million visits. Why is this important? Because while we are using ChatGPT, we are putting in text and getting answers. If we are happy with the answer, we say good job. If we are not happy, it learns that it should do better. So we actually are giving our data to ChatGPT that it can learn and be better. This is why they could do such a advancement in a such short amount of time. I will also show you how you can close that you don't give the information for the new model, but that is basically it. Yeah? So if it has a lot of information, a lot of data, then it can learn fast. Um, so the question is AI using pictures as an input and producing linear equation? Mm, Not okay. So the linear regression, that is just one specific type. We have a lot of different algorithms. I just took those line because I thought it's the most easy to see what the machine does. Yeah, so it tries to fit the line, but actually in the behind other algorithms, since like there that I had dogs and cats. Yeah, it actually does what is called neural network and backpropagation, which are some algorithms that are trying to put picture into numbers and then doing multiple calculations of these numbers, which are not really strictly only linear. Yeah, mostly yes, but you could not just give no. So I would say I had a really simple example. In reality, the models can be quite complex, but just the broad idea is how we train the models. What does it mean that the machine learns? It's the same. Yeah. Um, the next question was, is LLM the only model used by generative AI? No. So large language models means that they try to produce language. We also have large image models, yeah, that you probably already tried, or we will also show it in the next part. You put in text and it's try to draw the image. Then we have large video models. You type in some scenario and then it produces a video. And also we have for sound. So now you already can do sound. Usually it's text input so that we have it aligned. And then generative model produces something based on that text. The idea is that it's user friendly. So we as people try to explain things in words. So it uses words, text, and produce something that we try to produce. Thank you for the question. Now, before we tackle into the ChatGPT and other tools, I would just want to use some buzzwords that are all over the place, and I'm sure that you heard about it, and I think it's easier if you just know a bit what they mean. Yeah. So LLM, which is used a lot, is large language model. One example of this large language model, for example, is ChatGPT. So this is one of the many models we have. And it's trained, why is large? Because it has a lot of text data in it. Yeah, this is why it's large. Language model, because it's mostly produces language. ChatGPT was made to transform language to language. So it's really good with text tasks, maybe not so good with other tasks. Yeah. So for example, it cannot really make PowerPoints. Although it fakes like it can do it, it cannot. It can produce text. Then we have some different other, I would say, large language models. Yeah, Copilot is from Microsoft. If you have Windows, you probably also have it already installed, or so it's offered by Microsoft. I did not put the icon. Thank you. Yeah, Copilot. So we have ChatGPT, we have DeepSeek, which is the Chinese version. We have Claude, which is, let's say, an alternative American version from Anthropic, which is a separate company. Then we have Gemini, which is from Google. If you use any Google products or Google Drive, you already know because it tries to help you. I would say more than we needed, but let's say, okay, this is what they produced. We have Grok, which is from the company of Elon Musk. Then we have Lechette. So this one is the European version, yeah. And then we have Llama, which is from Meta. One thing to see, it's we don't have a lot of European models, yeah. So mostly America is producing these models or putting a lot of money into it, and China also did a big part in it by putting out DeepSeek. So yeah, this is then why I ask if you can use these tools, because where the data is stored, this is a big problem, of course. Yeah. So all these American companies will store their data in American servers. Yeah. Except I think that the Copilot guarantees that the data stays in European Union. So this is a lot then because of the all European regulations, who can have the data, who are the third party companies. This can be a bit tricky, but I will show you how you can close on ChatGPT the providing of the data to these companies. I would say for some basic use, I would not say that they are so different, although they are trying to be different on different levels. Let's say that ChatGPT is the first one. This is why it's the most used one. I would also say that we associate the word ChatGPT with the word LLM. Yeah? So if we think about something that you put in the text and you get back the text, you maybe automatically think about ChatGPT. This is one of the large language models. I would say that also this Claude is really sympathetic. I think it's lovely. But it's really mostly to write texts. Yeah, it also have some. If you want to write it more poetically or you want to write it more formal, they're really strict on how to produce good text. On the other hand, ChatGPT tries to be as much general as possible, which means that then it does not have really good, maybe domain knowledge. The next thing everybody is talking about prompt engineering. Prompt is the piece of text you put into ChatGPT. So how you write it, what do you write? This is prompting. And by putting in good prompts, you get good outputs. Maybe maybe like with cats and dogs, if you put a lot of good dogs, you will get good dogs. But if you get muffins inside, then who knows what the output will be. Then we have one thing that is called hallucination, which is really important. So large language models, as I said, they are good with producing texts. They read a lot of book. You can imagine it as somebody that read a lot of books, but does not really understand books. But if you ask something about write me this, it can produce a lot of text that looks similar to other books that it read. This is what ChatGPT does. It does not have logical mind. Yeah, they tried to trick it that it does it better and better, but in general, it just does text, which means that if you ask it for some information, it can be wrong because they don't know facts. They don't have fact checks. Yeah. And then why is this problematic? Because I would say that ChatGPT is really, really, how to say, as acts like it knows everything. Yeah, it will also maybe sometimes try to convince you that it's right. But yeah, if you say no, this is wrong because this or this, then he will apologize. Oh, sorry, this is not what I meant. I meant something else. But if you just read the text, it seems like it's okay, but always with the how to say with the szczepet soli, with some salt in your hand, with a doubt, a little bit of doubt. Always read answer that all these models give you back, yeah, because they are not perfect at all. Fine tuning, this is also something. So we have the ChatGPT usage general. And I said it's good in doing text. If you want to teach it to do some really specific task, they have to go into the model and train it on that kind of data. Yeah. For example, it can now distinguish, let's say, from dogs and cats. But if you want to distinguish between different breeds of dogs, you would have to fine tune it and put a lot of information about different breeds of dogs that it could then distinguish between breeds of dogs. Yeah, also we have a lot of, I know in Slovenian company, they have a Astra AI, so it's for teaching mathematics in school. They train it on old Slovenian examples of tests. You know, so they trained it on exams for mathematics. And this is how this model fine-tuned. They'll use also some other techniques to be really good in these tasks. So it focuses on special domain. Yeah. So this is what this means fine-tuning. And the last maybe temperature. Yeah, it's not how hot the LLM is, but when the ChatGPT tries to predict the next word, it have a lot of different words to choose from. Yeah, we had there like Mary had a little what? Yeah, it could be a lamp or it can be a ship, or so these are maybe similar words, which would say have a high probability that they should be there because if we know, I think this is a song, yeah, from this song, most of the people say, of course, it has to be a lamp. The temperature says how much do we want this answer to be like exact and what we will expect and how we want it to be something really crazy and not expected. So if the temperature would be low, this would be a lamp, yeah. So because we expect that it says a lamp, but if the temperature would be high, then it will maybe say a little umbrella or a little lion, yeah. So something crazy. We could use this to maybe if you want to be more creative, to think out of the box. This is how we could use this temperature. But this is all the things that are actually handled by the engineers, yeah. So they produce the model and put this fine tuning if they want some specific task or the temperature if they want to like show some types of well, answers. Okay. I think that 1 hour is now over. Is there any more questions about this topics discussed? So this is the theory. I said I wanted to give you a little bit of a taste what actually is happening in this generative AI, because I think it's until you understand a little bit, it seems like magic, but then actually, yeah, are just some algorithms and let's say people who work hard to put all the information in and to figure out what works. Yeah. Okay, I'll just check the chat. Yes. So I would then say, because I think that we learn best if we have different parts, let's take a 5-minute break. I would really ask you to stand up, go take a glass of water, maybe use the toilet, yeah, and we gather here at 10 past 10 for then some demonstration. And also Tina posted survey into the comments for all the Slovenians who work in companies, yeah, that you please answer that survey that we can then produce better content for you, that we know exactly what you want to hear, and we can then provide help with that. So if we are okay, yeah, 5 minutes break, you can start solving the survey. Please stand up. So this is better for learning, that we get some oxygen in our head. And now I will leave it to it. See you in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so this was a quick pick of some theory. And I want to show you some short demonstrations about how I use ChatGPT and how I can use also some other tools. So yeah, I figured out I have my ChatGPT in Slovenian, and so now from 2 minutes of searching, I don't know how to transform it back in English, but I do think that it figured out itself that I'm using Slovenian with my ChatGPT. So now kako ti lahko pomagam, which means how can I help you? It figured out that I'm using this language and is assisting me in this language. So let's see. As I understand, you mostly use already ChatGPT. For those that used it only once or twice, a short introduction. So we are usually greeted by this home screen. Here we can have a prompt. On the left, we have some history chats, which you can see I have a lot. And here we have some custom ChatGPTs. We'll look a bit just later. And the idea is, as I said, this is a language model. So if I put in some text, it gets text back. Yeah. So I want to know what is the really simple. Yeah. What this module has is interesting. Yeah? It already has searching in the internet. This is something that is now available in the, I think, last half a year. Because, as I said, ChatGPT was trained on a lot of data that was scraped down. If you would imagine, it was put into the paper and then it was trained the model. But now it can also go through the data, let's say like Google, Googling or Bing, and found things out. If you want to really search the web, we can also use this, search by web. This is a new function. This is really useful. And I say, okay, how do we know what is the weather? And as I said, I don't believe him always. So I usually, if I search by the web, I say, provide me also with resources. Yeah, I would say this is always a safe bet. Because as I said, ChatGPT gives us some intellectual, answer. But we do want to know where the information came from because, as you see, okay, ground-based observations, weather stations, they give us some information, but we see directly, okay, this is what the ChatGPT brought from Wikipedia. So now I can already align my assumptions. Okay, this information is from Wikipedia, which means it's not a scientific paper or something like that. So I know that I have to be maybe careful about it. If I would see only this, I would say, okay, maybe some scientists wrote it down and ChatGPT is mimicking it. Yeah, but if I had the sources, then I would say this is much more useful to me to distinguish which data is relevant or not. Yeah. Maybe if you think about the age we live in, I think that getting data is so simple. Yeah, we get a lot of data. We get it. If I think something, I open my phone, I Google or I use ChatGPT, and I get data immediately. This is not let's say the task we humans have to do anymore. Yeah, but what do we have to do now? It's to really be sure that the data we get is correct, relevant, and truthful. Yeah. So this is why we need to have. Well, I use a lot of different tips and tricks to make sure that my data is try to be as good as possible. The broad use of ChatGPT, I would say like this. I usually use two tricks when I do the prompting. First is I assign it role. So I say act like somebody. And by this, I put ChatGPT in a state where all the information it has is more truthful for me. What do I want to say? I will give you an example. Yeah? Act like a, let's say, computer science specialist. Yeah, so computer science, now it knows I will do something with computer science, and I can also use the language. Yeah, explain fine tuning to me. Yeah, the fine tuning always do double N. Yeah, it's what I explained before, roughly. So this we expect to really expert. Yeah, maybe because I said specialist, we will get an expert type of output. So I assign it a role, and then I assign it what do I want the output to be. Yeah, provide answer in short sentence, and then give me a real life example. So firstly, I want a short description, and then I also want the example. This is actually how I use it day by day. Yeah. So if I read something, I don't know what it is, I say, okay, what is this? And give me some examples how I could use this or that. Let's see what it produces. Maybe interesting. I said it's in Slovenian, but because I asked it in English, it gives me an English answer. Yeah? So it's really good in mimicking what I want. Process taking pre-trained machine learning model, as I said, they put a lot of different text into ChatGPT and then training it on a specific data set to improve its performance. Yeah. So vast internet text fine-tuned on medical literature to create a chatbot that provides accurate healthcare information. Because if I ask for medical advice at ChatGPT, which I do have to say, do with great care, yeah, don't trust it for medical, yeah, we have doctors for that. But let's say for something, I know I have a sore throat, what can I use? What kind of maybe not invasive medicines I can use? And it will list a few. If I train it on a lot of actual research data, yeah, that was published by medical doctors, then it knows more about that knowledge and it can provide better answers. I will also try to show how we can mimic that process, but not really. Yeah? So just for the our usage. So this is mostly it. You should say, okay, give me another because yeah, I would say you get an answer, but you still have to correct it a little bit. You can say it, it's like a conversation. Treat it as a conversation. With more prompts, you get a better and a better answer at the end. But since you mostly use it already, I think you know that. Yeah, but say the tips and tricks, assign it a role, because if I would say, okay, let's try a new chat. Here I click and I get a new chat. I would say, act like a marine biologist. Yeah, and I would say, explain fine tuning to me and give me an example. Let's see what now it does. Okay, so since it's a marine biologist, it tries to find out what fine tuning is, yeah, in marine biologist. I don't want that. I will stop it. I'll say, sorry, I wanted you to explain what fine tuning, always with double M, tuning in LMs means. So it knows, yeah, and then it's okay, because I did not say provide a short answer. It's like my grandpa, yeah, it speaks too much, it tries to explain a lot. But if you see, because I said act as marine biologist, the example that it gave me, yeah, it's okay, so example is marine biology chatbot. So it tries to be useful, yeah, by the role I assigned it. Okay, the next role will also be, okay, but try to give an example as I was a 10-year-old. This is really useful if you want to something really, really, really simple. It explains to you as you desired. So there is a smart friend that needs a little out of anything, but then want to be really good at something specific, Minecraft. So, it tries to give some Minecraft is a game that children play and try to give an example about that. So this is how I use mostly ChatGPT and what I'm really thoughtful when I giving prompts. If you will give a really ambiguous prompt, expect an ambiguous answer. If you give a really specific prompt, expect specific answer. Next things I want to show you is here. We have a lot of models. Now the most useful model is 4.0. They just, I think a week ago, when I also was doing this workshop, they just announced the new model, 4.5, which I did not try out a lot, but for basic knowledge, I would say it's not such a big difference. And then we have this O, yeah, O1, O3, O3 mini. I said that mostly ChatGPT is not really logical, and they try to mimic and trick it to be as logical as possible. And these O modules are actually for more logical thinking. How it does that, basically, it talks to itself. It tries to explain something, and then it uses this explanation to verify if it was thinking in the right way. So it's like talking to yourself. If you imagine talk to yourself out of loud, this is what this module does. So I would now say on how many data ChatGPT is trained on and how many time will a person need to read all that data. Yeah, so as I said, it's a lot of text, but let's see just how much of text. And we'll see here it says utemeljevanje, which means it tries to explain. And we can also follow the thought process. Yeah, so we see, and it just thought for 10 seconds, but we can see the thought process that it went through. Yeah, and then we can yes, I will answer that. So it tries to explain, it mimics a thought process of a person. And then we can, if we go and read this, we can see if the thought process was right, because yeah, it says this, and then it rereads and it talks to itself. So this is how they try to mimic logical thinking. We are far from that, but yeah, this is the best we have now. Okay. The question was to try to understand hallucination. Maybe in the mathematics it's actually the easiest. Let's say this. I don't know if this is correct. Yeah. So this many words divided by 200 words a minute. ChatGPT does not actually use a calculator and calculates this. It predicts what the numbers are based on text. That if we want it actually, and this could be a hallucination in exact this example. I actually found out already that it tried to convince me that some calculations are correct that are not. Yeah. So I can then say for calculation, use some computer program like Python. This is what I then use because what it is good, it's writing code, and then it can use code to actually calculate. So this is, let's say, how it programs its own calculator to calculate the exact answer. Yeah, total years, 2001 for one. Yeah, roughly. So here it got lucky. Yeah, because maybe it is a lot of text calculating minutes to hours. Let's say a lot of people did that because I know there is a lot of text on internet about how many hours we work a year and things like that. So this kind of data exists, and then it's roughly better. Yeah. So in just writing text. But if you want exact calculations, it's better for to use actually a computer program. So if you are not familiar with computer programs, no problem. ChatGPT can write it down. But again, yeah, this program is as useful as you are really sure that it does what it's supposed to do. Yeah. So I would say that roughly ChatGPT is a good assistant. I would say like somebody in how they say an intern. Yeah. So you can give it tasks. It does something. It does it fast, but you still should go and correct it or should verify that the tasks are good. But if you want to post something or calculate something, you should still have the knowledge, yeah, or be able to check the answers. I hope that I provided the answer, yeah. Or I think that sometimes, for the hallucination, we tried for some Slovenian city in the previous module, and it thought it was in a different country, yeah. So it just says, yeah, no, Ljubljana, which is the main city of Slovenia. Okay, but Ljubljana is mentioned a lot. Maybe Sežana is a smaller town. It would not know that it's Slovenia. It would say, yeah, this is a country in Italy, maybe, yeah, because it thought that Sežana is associated with Italy because we are near the border, and I know Slovenia, from Sežana we go to Italy to the shops to eat ice cream, to I don't know, to go to the seaside. So it would associate Sežana with Italy and would say, yes, Sežana is a town in Italy. That would be a hallucination. Yeah. And if I would not know where Sežana is, I could fall for that information. But this is just shortly. I mostly use the regular ChatGPT. Yeah, this is just when I really want some logical thinking, but I would say for general usage, the 4.0 or now the 4.5 will be better. But as I said, it has a lot of hundreds of billions of words. Yeah. And if a person reads 200 words a minute, it would take 2000 years, more than 2000 years for a person to read everything that ChatGPT read, yeah, when it was trained, the amount of words that was put into ChatGPT. So this is beyond our imagine how much information it has. And because we could put so much information, yeah, it saw a lot of patterns of words and of essays. This is why the answers seem so okay and are actually useful because it saw, I don't know, a lot of things a lot of times. So this is a prompt. I want you to show something else. So as I said, we cannot fine tune it, but we can do sort of prepare it to go in a state where it has some more knowledge. As for the example, as I said, B as a marine biologist, it started to look at the examples and think like a marine biologist. But we can do really better. Yeah, if we go here, we have here, I don't know what is in English, but it's custom GPTs probably. And we can now search for different GPTs that were like made or forced to think in a certain way that are more specific, yeah, for things. Like image generator is going to be into the next workshop, so I will not go there. But maybe School or GPT, this was filled with a lot of data from research, so it has it by hand. It's more likely that it will provide information from research papers, or write it for me. Quality, precise count, word count. So it was really trying to train it that if we say write something 100 words, that is really like that. But I like this maybe, Plantly, yeah. So we have a ChatGPT that helps us grow plants. Yeah. Can you help me choose plant for low light? So usually we get some prompts that we can see how it works, but I could also say I live in Ljubljana. I am facing east wall. I want a plant, but I am at home once a week, let's say. So I said where I am, which wall, probably it's something that would be useful. So now it says a lot of things. And now I want to show you a trick because we are with plants. Yeah. So this is just, I would say, we can use a custom GPT. We have it here on the left, and we can use it when we want, let's say, to grow plants. It's better to use this kind of custom made it because it's already pre-trained on a lot of data. But I don't know if you know, we can also put in, let's say, picture. So I like this plant here. I will take a screenshot. Okay, I have a screenshot. I can go ChatGPT. I paste it into the prompt and I said, which plant is it? Write only the name. Because otherwise, as you see, it really wants to give you some long answers, which if you have free version, so I'm using a paid version for 20 euros a month. But if you have a free version, you have the good models only for some time. Yeah. So if you use a lot of text, the text is used for input and output. Then when you reach some limit, it will change to the old model and then it will unlock the model, I don't know, after a few hours. If you want to use the free ChatGPT as long as possible, you should restrict how much information it says if you don't need it. So I only want the name of this plant. Then I say it, Charamedoa parallel palm. I have no idea about plants. I'm actually really bad at it, and this is true. Yeah, so I at home only once a week, so I don't have a lot of time. Yeah. So this is how you can use something. Maybe if you use Google Chrome, this is now a trick. You can use Google Lens if you know. So if you have a picture, you can use Google Lens. Usually you can right click it, search with Google Lens, and you can actually search Google with pictures, which I think it's so useful. This is how I repair all my equipment in kitchen and in the toilet. Yeah. I photo it with the Google, and then I give, you see, the picture goes into the search, and then I said something, how can I repair it? So it's similar to ChatGPT, but if you I don't know, are browsing and you don't want to switch to ChatGPT, you can just use Google Lens. This is maybe good enough. And this is with Areca palma, palma areca, which parol palma. I don't know. I think this is good enough. But so that you can see, ChatGPT can also get input an image and can then give you output of a text. What it cannot do is make a two-slide presentation about cats and dogs. Just want to show you. Okay, so this is actually doing a presentation, as you see at the slide. It gives me text about how the presentation could look like. It did not provide me PowerPoint because it cannot do that. If I say, maybe a thing that just happened here, you can see that it changed. Yeah, means we are in Canvas. This is a special feature in ChatGPT that is now available, which means that we can actually edit text inside ChatGPT. This is how I use it, like for meeting minutes. Maybe I should use that rather to actually change the text. But if I say provide, I don't like this. Let's say here, provide a PowerPoint presentation. You can see here something is happening. If we click it, we can see what is happening in the back, and we can see some code. So actually it's using Python, which is a programming language, to produce a PowerPoint. It's not actually doing PowerPoint. Yeah, so this is what it does not know. If I download this PowerPoint, it will be, well, something. Let's see. Yeah, we can see it's really basic. It's not really nice. Yeah. So I would not use ChatGPT directly to do PowerPoints, but it is good if you want to get text, yeah, how the slides may be used, and then we can use it with the Gamma AI. Yeah, so we can copy this, and now we can go to the Gamma AI. Where do I have it? So this is Gamma AI. It's a free app to some extent. To do with the PowerPoints, it's free. So for editing, if you want to use AI, it costs some credits. You get, I think, the 250 credits at the beginning, and then each generation takes roughly 40 credits. Yeah. And then if you want, of course, you can buy more. This is usually how all these things work. Yeah, you have some free version that is limited, and if you think it's good enough, then you pay some amount of monthly subscription. I think this is €8 a month. I'm not sure I would actually go with it. So, but maybe this is just my case. Let's say generate from text and notes. Yeah. I can now paste in the slides that ChatGPT wrote down, and I can try continue. Okay. English, we can write for who are we writing, because this is also then the images that are created are used by this feature that we wrote. What is the tone? We want to be humorous and informative. Yeah, it's cats and dogs. It's not really so serious. Images are from AI. I usually just say it's okay. Yeah. For you're almost out of credits. Yes, I know. Okay. You can choose a theme, or rather, we can use a custom theme, which is I like. Oh, I cannot get it here. Let's just leave it like this. I'll show you how to import a custom theme. But I would say, guys, is for playing. Yeah, I would honestly say it has too many features for my taste. But again, yeah. So for something funny or something quick, so we also get pictures, cats, dogs, and the ultimate pet showdown. So it figures something out because we want it to be humorous. Yeah, this is then the type of PowerPoints it makes. And it uses the information we got. Yeah. I would check the pictures. These are all generated by AI. And if I remember correctly, cats don't have 5 legs. Yeah, so you should be worried about that. So if I want to this, yeah, edit image, make sure the cat has only 4 legs. Okay. And then, AI generate. Make sure cat has only generate. This is why I like it, because you can edit on the go. Yeah. Oh, I like this one. What I also like it if I want to like just do something quickly. I want like a chart between how many cats and how many dogs are. Yeah, I can just write a card. Yeah, I can say, okay, provide a chart of how many cats and dogs are in Slovenia. And I can just write details. Yeah, there are 10,000 dogs and, I don't know, 2,000 cats. And I say, okay. And now we have a chart. Yeah. Which I don't like. I would say, okay, I want columns. We can just go it on the go. So you see, just by typing in text, it draws everything, which I think it's really nice. If you need to do something quickly. If you want to do some really good PowerPoint, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe if we want to also do the theme, this is what I like, a theme, edit theme. We can import a theme. What I did was I went to Euro CC2 PowerPoint. I took down the template. And you can see that it has so the color that it uses. Yeah. And I want my presentation to be something like this. Yeah. So if I don't have a theme already prepared, which usually is the case that we do, but if we don't, I just upload it. Okay. And it somehow scraps down the theme from the PowerPoint, which I thought was useful. That I don't have to match all the colors and match everything. So it does it for us. Okay, building a theme. Nice. And we see these are the colors that are used. Maybe it also used the right font. It thought that this is the logo, which we don't want. We want to remove the logo. I then scrape down the logo and just upload it. Okay, Euro 2. This is Euro 2. So now we also have the logo. And I can say, okay, save and finish. And now we have custom themes that we can just use. And we see the colors are now in our theme. Yeah, also here we have now this golden color rather than the black one. Yeah, we can also do a bit lighter, but it figures out which colors do go together and can use that. So we also have the logo. If I want now to present this, like present, we can see that we has a logo and this is a presentation that we got. We can download it. Yes, and use it as PowerPoint or use it as a PDF. It works all. If you download it in a free version, of course, it will say Gamma AI at the bottom, which I think it's a bit annoying, but of course, they also have to leave from something. So if you use it, maybe you should use it as a paid version after you try all the credits. But I would not go really into it. It's just that you can see we have a Gamma AI. It's here. I can also post it in the chat. This is one app that it's fun to explore, but maybe not really the biggest thing, I would say. I would say I would show only two more things. And then I'm afraid we're slowly running out of time. To produce, let's go back to ChatGPT. To produce meeting minutes, yeah. What I did, so as I did it, I filmed a meeting we had and then did a transcription. I will show you how to do the transcription. And then I use that transcription, put it in ChatGPT and ask it to make meeting minutes. Well, because I cannot use that for privacy reasons, I asked ChatGPT to make a transcription. Yeah, I said, okay, there are three people. They are discussing their colleague, how do you say, trip with colleagues from work, and they are discussing in a natural way. They're also a bit interrupting each other. They all want to go to their destination, but at the end they collide together, and then they also, how do you say, give each other, so they assign tasks to them. Okay, so I will just copy the transcript that ChatGPT made up. So this is just a short demonstration. The transcript I had from my voice detection was like for a half an hour meeting or more. And then we can just say, okay, write down meeting minutes. Yeah. They should include what agenda, what was decided, and task distribution between participants. Then I passed in. It should be in English. Yeah. And let's post it. And we can see meeting minutes doing that are writing in front of us. I think this is really good. I would say that if you have already an example of meeting minutes, you can post it in, as I did with the picture. You could say, this is an example of our meeting minutes. Try to mimic the form. I think this is the best use case. And now we can see this is in Canvas, which means that we can actually go through it and say, okay, next meeting we'll focus on reviewing details prepared by each participants. This is not true. And we can actually already inside, we can provide text edits. Yeah, we'll focus on calling other participants. And I actually edit it. Why I like this canvas is because I can ask ChatGPT directly about things that are here. Yeah, so destination for this year's trip is Rovin, and I can say this. Okay. Now I can ask ChatGPT about this part. Who suggested this destination? And it asks, yeah, about Rovin, which is a place here. Oseba free, so the third suggested Rovin as the destination. If I'm not sure, what I usually do is, please provide the exact text where this is mentioned. Because sometimes it's, again, as I said, it makes things up. Wait, super idea. So this is the exact text that was used from ChatGPT. Sorry, our meeting minute, from transcript of the meeting that they had. This is how I would use ChatGPT to write down meeting minutes. But as I said, we don't always have a transcription, and it's good that we have some method to use it. This is why I use Speechmatics. Okay, you can, for free, you can just sign up. I already have it. And now what you can do, you can go that you can transcribe audio, which means from audio to text. And if you already have it, like I film it on the phone, so I have the file on my phone. I went to batch here, transcribe previously recorded media, which I would say is really good. And you could just upload the file, and then you get the transcription. What I'm going to show you is if you are live. Yeah? So if you're in a meeting in your room, how you can actually film film the voice and then get live transcription. And this is by using real-time transcription. And by these demonstrations, I will also show you the third thing, which is step-to-step guides, for which I use Tango. Yeah, Tango AI. you can actually install it as an extension for Google Chrome. If you pay it, you can also get it for the desktop, yeah, but for extension, you can also then only do this step-by-step guides in the browser, but this is good enough for us. So I will start my Tango here. I will choose the extension. Hi, Mark. He knows my names. Yeah. And let's say ready to capture a new Tango. Yes, start capture. What does it do? I will explain how to use Speechmatics to record some song. And on the same time, Tango will capture all my steps, what I clicked, and will provide some text with it. So then we can have step-by-step guide about how to use something. I think this is really useful if, I know, you have some repeated task and you have somebody onboarding. Instead of showing everybody all the time, yeah, on the onboarding process, you can show it one time and then you already have a document that well takes them through the document. So as you see, this orange things is what Tango is looking for. So I would say, okay, first we click the real time and we can see on the right the picture about what I did and also some text is provided. Then we need to select an audio device. So this is how we use the Speechmatics to record our voice. Select your device. We have to select the right one. Then select source language, English. I actually quite like the Slovenian one. Yeah, I am impressed how good it works. But for now, let's try English. Okay. Accuracy, we want an enhanced. The standard is not so good, so enhanced is really good. Separate the transcription by speakers. This is good. You can actually say how many people are at the meeting. Because I'm only one, I would say one. Yeah, and you can this, and then I would say check in the custom dictionary. So add unique words that they should be focused on, yeah, when the machine is listening to you speaking. I would say my task is. So if I'm speaking, then I say, okay, my task is, it will be really, really focused on that word because then the ChatGPT, I can write into the prompt like be focused on the words my task is because then I'm listing my to-do list and it will know how to scrap the tasks from our meeting. I think this is really useful. And I think this is enough. Yeah. So the set select audio device, accuracy should be enhanced. We say how many people are in the meeting because it can differentiate people from their voice. It's crazy. Custom dictionary. So this is if you want really something specific. I found that because we have usually in our meetings some agenda, some to-do list. So some keyword like my task is, so that the ChatGPT will know to focus on that. And this is it. I go next. And now I can start the session. Okay. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Mark and I'm here trying out this new tool. My task is provide step-by-step guide for other participants. Also, I would like to thank everybody for joining this opportunity and that they are curious about this discovering AI tools. Also, we have the part 2, which will came in another week. My task is provide an invitation for all the participants. As you can see, this is the transcript provided what I said. If there are more people, it actually says speaker 1, speaker 2. It differentiates between different people. What I can then do is copy my text and probably copy it in Word document or something like else. I will copy it directly into my ChatGPT. Before that, I will stop my Tango. And Tango now is automatically generating this. Let's wait for a second here. Oh, we get the confetti. Let's see what our ChatGPT can do. We can say, I will provide a transcription. Please make a summary of what was said and make a to-do list for speaker one. The tasks start with my task is, because this was the keyword, yeah. Okay, understood. Please provide a transcription. I forgot the transcription. It says, please provide a transcription. Here you go. I give you the transcription. Summary, welcome to everybody. So it just has a summary about what they have said, and then it also provides a to-do list, step-by-step guide for other participants, and information for all participants for the upcoming sessions. I think that this, so as I did not have to do any other preparation or any other work to provide this. Yeah, I was just talking to you and showing you, and I already have all the things here. So this is how I would do meeting minutes. If you could upload some examples of your meeting minutes, I think that would be good. Yeah, that you can then show ChatGPT how to actually take things from the form that you want of your meeting minutes. I said that really important. I will show you because meeting minutes can have some private information. There are some tricks how you can disable the function that ChatGPT remembers the information we are giving it. First one is here on the right. It's temporary chat. This is like without history, yeah? So anything I write here, testing, this will not be saved in ChatGPT. They save it for 30 days for some security purposes, but otherwise it is deleted. Also, if I close this and I go somewhere else, I can see that this chat is not on the left side. So if you have some really sensitive information, but you still want to use ChatGPT, this is the temporary conversation you can have. You can browse, you can upload things up. But do remember, when you close this chat, this vanishes. And the other thing with data is here. If you go to settings, and then you go data, I don't know how it's in English, but data management probably. Here it's that we want to help the module to improve, and I have it turned out. Yeah. If we have it turned in, when they train the new module, the bigger one, they use all the information that was put into the ChatGPT from all the users to train it as additional text. If you don't want that, you should close this. Yeah, usually, because otherwise you can have some, I know, some company secrets in it, and the model will actually read through that, and they don't know that it's sensitive information. So if you don't want that, just close this. So these are the two mechanisms that how we can disable ChatGPT to use our data, but still the data is somewhere here for at least 30 days. If you have really, really strict regulations, yeah, that would be actually may not be. You should consult your security specialist in your firm how much information you can put in ChatGPT. But for everyday tasks, I think that's okay. Yeah, just don't put in your financial plan maybe for the next year. That's not good to share it. And now for the last part, what did that Tango do? Yeah, so how did that step-to-step guide did? When I stopped it, it automatically put me here. Yeah, and I can see that it already knew. So the artificial intelligence knew what is this step-by-step guide about. And we can see that it tracked all my movements. And I can go zoom in, zoom out, yeah, if I think something is more important. And also it already provides some text about what is happening, which is all. So firstly, I press the real time. I select the audio device, click on the microphone Realtek. No, it's not true, you know, so this is what we have to change. So click on the desired my input, maybe to be more general. Yeah. So then we clicked on English and we selected English. So we'll say select desired. So all the steps I did, all the clicks, it's already here provided. And I can just go click on enhance, click on dissertation, type 1. No, yeah, we should say type the number of participants. The one was just my example. Click on custom dictionary. So we can see that everything, if we think that this is too close, we can just go back. Okay, here was the custom dictionary that they had to click. And add unique words. Maybe we don't like this part, we can just delete it. So on the right, we have delete. We say, okay, maybe we don't need this. Yeah, we don't need the apply. And then we go click on the next. Next, maybe we don't know where it is, on the bottom right. Okay, start session, and then click copy. Okay, let's see. Preview guide. We actually can have, okay, click on copy. Nice. So if we give this to somebody in Tango, it can actually click and it has a mock of this web page, but I don't like that so much. What I like more with Tangos is this. We in Tango. I like to export it. Share and export on the right side. And I can just export it in Markdown. Yeah, so the second one. Why? Because I can just copy paste it into the Word. Office Word. This is what I like. Yeah, just copy and paste. No, this was not doing okay. Okay. Oh, just a second. Oh no, sorry. What I'm Markdown is for something else. My mistake. So like Microsoft Word, we can just copy HTML. Sorry, my mistake. We can just paste it. Okay. And now if we can observe this Word document, yeah, maybe we can remove some things. But instead of doing this, I don't know if you already had to do it, but doing this, taking screenshots and writing everything down, most of all is already done. Yeah. So what we saw, those pictures, we can send now this to our colleague that they know step by step how to actually do some work that we have to do. I think this is brilliant, really simple. Again, we have this Tango logo here. If you pay for it, then this is also removed. But maybe you can remove these things that we don't need. And you can send this to your coworker that they can use it. So this is what some tools I think are really helpful. I think they're fun to use because there is not really a lot of let's say high tech. They're mostly try to be really, really user friendly, which is I like. Yeah. And this is it. So thank you for your participation. We went through a short theory that you maybe better understand how this works. I can provide other links. This is what I said. Yeah. So Tango, I will provide it in the chat, and Speechmatics. So these are the tools I use. There are millions of tools. What I would want to give you from this is try one tool, figure it out if it works. If it doesn't, leave it. So they said Gamma AI looks fun. When I was preparing the presentation, it maybe took me more time to actually do it with Gamma than I would do it myself. But it was a good practice to see what our tools are capable of today. So if you have any other questions, please do ask. Otherwise, yeah, Tina,
Yeah,
I
so
see.
yeah, thank you very much to Mark. It was very insightful.
Mm,
Helpful, of course, also for us who are not really, let's say, into some
mhm,
of these tools, because also I work with just some of those.
mhm,
And I got some ideas how to improve my work with some others, and I will check on this. So thank you very
mhm.
much.
Thank
If
you.
anyone has some questions, please go ahead. Now we have the chance. And meanwhile, I'm inviting you on the second part of the workshop. So it's in 2 weeks on 22. I already provided the link in the chat, and we will work more on the tools, so for the your administrative and financial work optimization, more or less.
Mhm.
So also a bit more in this creative part, so video and photo generation.
Yes.
Then I will thank you again for being with us. Please feel free to contact link.si. Find all the information there, especially those who would like to learn more on how you can engage with us to support you with your business ideas, proof of concept, or some other AI application for your business. We are here for you. And have a nice day, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.